Hey, everybody. So, the Lord has given me a very, very special word, a very important word, one to be very much taken seriously. Um, for my own life, I took this very seriously, and now passing it to you guys, there is so much significance in this that I just pray that as it ministers to you, really take heed of it and look into it for your own life, guys, because this is a very special word. It's a very important word. And it is a very much within, it is a seasonal word, okay? This word applies to a specific season. And a specific season only, whether you're in it right now or whether this season for you is coming. And it's a beautiful season. So it's a beautiful season, but it is a very, very significant season, what we're about to cover, because it determines the course of the next season of your life. It really determines the course of which way you're going to go. Okay. So I am going to call this message Crossing Over the Threshold, or even while standing on the threshold, waiting to cross over. Okay. These are both ways to look at it. Okay. I only have let's see. And the Lord gave me this word while I was in the book of Ezra, chapter 9. Okay. I only have three scriptures that I'm going to read to you. So that part won't be long, but he gave it to me while I was in this book, and guys, it's just spoken wonders to me. Let's see. Let me get situated. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to stop at, I think, 8. So Ezra chapter 9, verses 7 and 8, I'm going to read them to you real quick. And then we're going to get started on this. So, starting at verse 7. Since the days of our fathers, to this day we have been very guilty. So since then until now, we have been very guilty. Okay? And for our iniquities, and for our iniquities, we, our kings and our priests, have been delivered into the hand of the kings of the land, to the sword, to the captivity, to plunder, and to humiliation, as it is this day. Okay? Right here, guys. Right here. Here's the point of the message. And now for a little while, grace has been shown from the Lord our God to leave us a remnant to escape. Okay, and to give us a peg in his holy place, that our God may enlighten our eyes and give us a measure of revival in our bondage. Here it is. Here it is. And now for a little while, okay, and now for a little while, grace has been shown to us from the Lord our God to leave us a remnant to escape. Okay, so he is giving them a window of opportunity. Okay, of grace, a window of grace and opportunity to escape the mess, okay, that they got themselves into, right? So they're basically saying they were handed over into the kings and priests. They were delivered into the hand of the kings of the land, to the sword, to captivity, plunder, humiliation. Guys, what they're saying is they were stuck in the mess that they made. Right? From their rebellion, from their doing things their way, they were stuck in this bed that they made their bed, and they had to sleep in it for a while. Okay. The Lord had basically said, okay, you know what? You want a king? I'll give you a king. They wanted a wicked king. They got that. They had to suffer the consequences, really, for their actions and for their choices and for their desires, right? They had to suffer for that for so long. But now there is a window of grace and opportunity. It says right here in chapter 9, verse 8. Okay? There is that window that God is saying, listen, you have suffered long enough. You've dealt with the consequences of your actions. Let's move forward. Enough is enough. You've suffered long enough. It is your time to move forward. You get it. You get the picture. You know you messed up. You've had to deal with those consequences. Now let's move on. Now I'm going to give you a chance to make your life right. Now I'm going to give you a chance to get things back in order in your life and move on in the freedom and the promises that I have for you. I'm giving you, you made yourself captive to all these things, but I'm giving you an opportunity now that you had to deal with the consequences of your actions, but now I'm giving you a chance to set things right in your life and live life to the fullest that I have for you. Guys, this is something that the Lord will do in your life. It is something that He's doing in my life, okay? When we do things our own way, it gets us in the same place every time, a mess, okay? When we do things our own way, we have, there are consequences to our actions, okay? Yes, even as children of God, yes, we are His child, but that does not mean that there's not, I'm sorry, I'm trying to fix my phone where it's situated right. Yes, you are a child of God. That doesn't mean that you're not, but there are consequences for our actions. And when we do things in life and when we do things our own way versus God's way, there's things that we have to walk through because of that. There's consequences to those things, and it wasn't what God necessarily intended for us, but it's how life works, consequences for our actions. But the Lord opened up a window of opportunity of grace, okay? Of grace and opportunity in their lives. And it's something that if you have not yet experienced, I know that you will at some point experience that opportunity that the Lord gives you in His divine timing, okay? That opportunity, it's a window of time that is in His divine time, not yours. But when it comes, it is to be taken, you are to take advantage of that window of opportunity to fix the mess, okay? To not get yourself back into what He delivers you out of, okay? There is that time when the Lord says you have suffered long enough. You have dealt with the consequences of your own actions long enough. There has been wisdom that has been gained. There have been lessons learned. You have gained understanding. You are not the person that you were. It is time to move forward into what I have for you, okay? So when that time comes, guys, these people are coming out of, okay, they're coming out of all this mess, all right? And the Lord is giving them a new life. He has given them a new opportunity, I should say, a new opportunity to live in what He has for them, okay? And when He does that, what ends up happening, okay, like this is, if you read chapter 9 for yourself, you will see that Ezra, who was leading them, okay, he is just completely distressed because he heard word that the people who God has given this window of opportunity to make things right in their life, he finds out they have married pagan, they have taken pagan women to be their wives. So they have done exactly what God said not to do. And Ezra literally, I mean, you can read this for yourself. He literally says, Lord, he literally says it right here in verse 10. Now, O our God, what shall we say after this? For we have forsaken your commandments. And he basically says, you just got us out of the mess that we were in. You just got us out, and now we're back in it again. We went right back into our own way. You just delivered us from the last season of consequences. And here you are setting things straight in our life, and they're running right back into it. He's over here basically saying, God, how am I going to come to you and ask you to fix this now when you just got us out of this? You just fixed it. And here we are going back. You gave us a window of opportunity and grace, and we're running right back in the opposite direction. Proverbs 14:14, okay? says that the backslider in heart will be filled with his own ways, but a good man will be satisfied with things from above. So, guys, when God gives you this opportunity to get out and to fix your life up, to do what it is that it takes in order to be able to live in the freedom and the promises that God has for you, when He gives you that opportunity to kind of, a new beginning of any, in any area, when He gives you this opportunity, Proverbs says that a backslider is filled with his own ways. So in this time, guys, that God gives you, whether that's your season now, whether you're going to come into that season, regardless of what, when this happens for you, you need to be satisfied, guys, with your relationship with Jesus, with the things from above. Because when you start doing your own thing in your own way, that is what it says causes you to backslide, right? So when you get in a season like this, the enemy is going to do, he's going to do it in any season. Don't get me wrong. If you're breathing, he's going to try to distract you. But when you come into a season like this where you have an opportunity to get out of the mess that you created, God says you've suffered long enough. Now let's move forward in life. I'm going to give you an opportunity to fix this. I'm going to give you an opportunity to start new. I'm going to give you I'm going to give you fresh opportunities. I'm going to give you fresh doors that are going to be open for you, whatever it looks like for you. The enemy will do everything he can to distract you with the desires of your own flesh, with your own way. He will use the desires that you have, okay? Your desires in life, he is going to use against you. We all have desires, our fleshly desires, that is a normal thing, but he will use that against you. He will do anything and everything he can to distract you and get you to do things your own way. In that opportunity that God is giving you, he will do everything he can to get you to do things your own way, to distract you from the Lord and get you kind of looking over here, right? Instead of looking at the Lord, you're looking this way. You're being tempted to kind of do things your own way versus his way. But a righteous man, because a backslider is filled with his own ways, but a righteous man, it says, is satisfied with his relationship with God. He's satisfied with the things from above. Even when you don't necessarily feel like doing it God's way, and you don't necessarily feel like staying focused. Guys, love is a choice, and a relationship with Jesus is a choice. It's a commitment, okay? You don't always feel like committing, but it's a choice to commit. You don't always feel like getting in that secret place with God. You may not always feel like doing it his way versus your way, especially when your flesh is pulling you in a different way, and the enemy will use that. It's okay to not feel like it, but it's a choice that you have to make. I may not feel like it, but I'm going to walk in what I know to do, and I'm going to choose to be, satisfied with my relationship with God. And the more you get to know him, the more easy it is to be satisfied with what you have with him, okay? So, guys, as you do this, understand, as God puts you, as he gives, and I believe he's doing that in the lives of many people right now, giving them new beginnings, new opportunities, fresh doors that are opening, and fresh opportunities coming their way, because his people have suffered long enough. The Lord wants to bring his remnant into full freedom, okay? Out of the captivity of the enemy, out of spiritual captivity and bondage, and into the fullness of a life that he has for you. Because, guys, he sets you free so that you can set others free, okay? So when he gives you this window of grace and opportunity, don't go take pagan wives, okay? Don't do as they did. Now, if you start and you go and you read this in the book of Ezra for yourself, you will see that they repented, okay? They repented, and the Lord forgave them, okay? But guys, when you're in a season where the Lord is refining you, you're coming out of all the mess that you were in, and the Lord, he's going to refine you. He's going to clean you up, guys. He's going to, pure gold okay, has to go through a process. All of its impurities have to be burned away before it's ever considered pure gold, the gold that people want to actually purchase, the gold that people see as valuable. Diamonds start out as rocks, guys. They start out as rocks. They have to be chipped away at. They have to go through an entire process of refining as well to actually become the diamond that we see on jewelry and that people want to actually purchase. A diamond does not start out looking the way it does by the time we get to see it. Neither does gold. Pure gold has a lot of impurities that have to be burned off of it before it can ever be seen as the pure gold that and considered pure, keyword pure gold. That should speak for itself, okay? There is a process to that. There is a process to us in our own lives, guys. We do not start out as the finished product. We have to go through a lot of sanding down, chipping away, pruning. We have to go through a lot of refining, burning away those impurities, and sometimes that only happens with intense heat and pressure, okay? But you've got to trust the Lord with the process that He has you in, because of the fact that you know if the Lord is doing it, it is to reach that end goal, the finished product, who He created you to be. Not who you see yourself as right now, but who He created you to be, okay? So understand that. That doesn't happen overnight, and there are consequences for our own actions, but the Lord will give you a window of opportunity to make things right in your life and to step forward out of the captivity that you were in and into what God has for you and what He wants to do in you, that spiritual freedom. And then, that's going to overflow and, into the lives of others. Okay. But I want to talk about what I'm talking about is in that window. A door has a threshold. Okay. When you are stepping in, when you are crossing through a door, you are going from one side to the other. That's what you're doing. One side to the other. But in between is that threshold. That threshold, okay? The door, you are leaving one room. You are leaving one place and you are stepping into another place that God is taking you to. But that threshold is the transition from the last place to the new place. When you are stepping through that door, that threshold, that season of transition, Guys, that is never the fun part. That is never the pretty, shiny, pure gold and solid diamond part. That is the refining. That is the process that it takes to get there, okay? And not only just the refining, but it is seasons of transition. They require many things. We've all been through seasons of transition. But when you have yes, it's a season of transition, but when the Lord puts you in that season of transition, when He gives you that grace, when He graces your life and He says, let's move on from the captivity into the new thing, from the consequences of your action into the new thing, you've got to be willing to cross over that threshold. And while crossing over it, you've got to do it wisely, because when you're at a threshold of a door, you can always turn back and go back the other way. You can always do that. You don't have to make the choice to fully step through. So understand that threshold, crossing over that threshold, that season, that that window of opportunity, that window of grace that the Lord has given you to move on into better things and when He gets you out of the mess that you made in your life, don't run back into it. Don't run back to the mess that you come out of. It may require, it may look a little different. It may not be the same person. It may not be the same thing, but it still wasn't God's way. So that mess may have a new face on it. That mess may have a new, let's just say that mess may have a new face on it. But if it wasn't God's way, and if it wasn't what he had for you, then you're still creating the same mess that he just got you out of, just like the pagan wives, guys. That's why I'm saying the same face. So understand that the Lord is saying to take advantage of that time. Take advantage. Take advantage of that time. Don't get into the same mess that he just got you out of. If this is not your season right now, I promise you it will be at some point. Guys, when the Lord shows us mercy and allows us to fix our life and fix our mess, see that as your opportunity to do it God's way this time. See that as your opportunity to finally do it God's way. See that as your opportunity to be satisfied with your relationship with him and not filled with your own ways, which will cause you to backslide. Run full speed, full-fledged, full throttle. Even in that season, that window of opportunity, it may seem awkward. It may have that kind of freckled face, buck teeth kind of feel to it. Sometimes seasons of transition do. But understand that it is a window of opportunity. It is the Lord's mercy and grace over your life. Take advantage of that, guys. Do it his way this time, guys. Don't backslide. Don't be filled with your own way. Remember that our relationship with Jesus is just like with anyone else. It's a choice and a commitment, even when we don't feel it. Choosing to get in the presence of God, choosing to be satisfied with him, choosing that God will light the fire in us, but it is our job to keep it lit. Okay? To keep it lit. Keep your fire burning. If you feel that fire has been put out, ask the Lord to rekindle it for you, and he will. To light that fire in you once again. Draw near to the Lord, and he will draw near to you. Don't get into the same mess that he was getting you out of. When he delivers you from captivity, and he gives you a window of opportunity and grace, use it to the fullest. Do things God's way this time, guys. Don't be like the people in Ezra. They took on pagan wives. Now the Lord did forgive them. They, after Ezra had fasted and it was this big thing, they ended up having to confess their sins. They had to confess their sins and get rid of they had to divorce their women. So the Lord, of course, allowed them to make that right. His mercy endures forever, even when you mess up, even when you miss it, even when you intentionally miss it. But don't let the enemy distract you. Don't let the enemy use your fleshly desires against you. Choose to be satisfied with the things from above. Be thankful for that window of grace and opportunity. That new start, that fresh start, the new beginning. The new thing that God is doing in you and through you. Bless the Lord your God, for he is good and his mercy endures forever. Y'all have a wonderful day, and we will talk soon.